Hi students, I hope all of you are fine. And today let's discuss another topic under the chapter life processes. So today we are going to talk about transportation in plants and as well as animals. Okay, so one second, let's discuss. Yeah. So if we talk about animals, okay, you might have seen that, okay, why the transportation is required, first of all. So it is needed to transfer or transport different things or different materials in our body from one place to another. Okay, so for example, there is nutrient. So you have taken nutrient from your, let's say you have eaten something, it went to your stomach, and from there it went to your small intestine. Okay, then large. So from small intestine, the nutrient is being absorbed into the blood, and then from here it reaches different parts of your cell or different cells, different body parts. Okay, so this helps in delivering the essential nutrients, and also it carries the oxygen which is being exchanged in the lungs. Okay, so let's say that this is your lung. So here alveoli, here the exchange of gases takes place and oxygen comes into the blood, and from here it will reach to again to the cells, and from there you can derive energy using oxygen and your glucose or nutrient which you are using. So these two will combine together to form certain waste. Okay, so that will be CO2 plus H2O, but also it will give ATP, that is energy. Okay, now this energy will be used to do different kinds of motion. Okay, and these two, now this becomes waste, right? CO2 is not required in a animal body, so that is supposed to be removed out. So again, to transfer carbon dioxide and other toxic waste from the cells, there is use of transportation system in animals. Okay, and to maintain the body balance. Okay, so it maintains a proper pH level, and it also helps in regulating the temperature, right? And different other chemicals and hormones to get transported. This system is being used. So what is transportation? Transportation is the vital process of moving food, water, oxygen, and waste material throughout the body of the living organism. Okay, now if we talk about what exactly the transportation system of humans has, or let's talk about the circulatory system if we want to be very precise. So it has mainly three things. Okay, the first one is heart. So heart is the muscular organ, okay, which pumps the blood. Okay, and it works 24/7. If it stops, okay, the body will not be able to do any kind of activity, and the person may die. Okay, so that's why people try to give CPR sometimes, so that heart can function again, and all the activities which are being stopped, like transfer of nutrients, transfer of oxygen, the waste, everything can resume. If it doesn't, then again, yeah, you know that. Now coming to blood. So blood is the one which is being pumped by the heart and reaches different organs or different places. Now, what carries blood? Blood vessels. Okay, so there are three types of blood vessels: arteries, veins, and capillaries, which help carrying all this. Okay. So also one more thing, that the circulatory system of humans have double circulation. Okay, so what do we mean by double circulation? What happens is the deoxygenated blood. Okay, I'm drawing the deoxygenated blood with blue color. So deoxygenated blood will enter the right atrium. From here, it will go to the right ventricle. From here, this will go to nothing but lungs. In lungs, there will be exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, right? So carbon dioxide will go out. Okay, and it will reach your nose and you will exhale it, and oxygen will come inside, and exchange in lungs happen, right? From here again, the you can say the oxygenated blood now will enter the heart. So it will reach the left atrium and then left ventricle. From left ventricle, the oxygenated blood will go and reach several different cells or body parts. Okay, and okay, parts. I hope it is visible. I'm writing body parts here. Okay. And once the O2 is consumed by, cell and body parts, what will be formed? Again, if you can remember this equation, C6H12O6 plus oxygen will give CO2 plus H2O plus energy, right? energy. So what happens is that CO2 is formed. So this CO2 will now be released. Okay, let me just erase this one. Okay, let's not erase that. Let me just draw it like this. Okay, so now CO2 will be carried through the blood, deoxygenated blood, and it will reach again to the heart. So what happens? The deoxygenated blood goes into the heart once, right? Then it leaves the heart and reaches lungs. Okay, and it is coming back again to the heart before being pumped into the whole body. So that's why it is called as double circulation system, because it is 2 times it is coming into the heart. Okay. Now, okay, so component of blood. So there are mainly 4 components are there. There is plasma, there is red blood cells, platelets, and white blood cells. So plasma is the fluid or the liquid portion which is carrying all the cells, these types of cells. Okay, now the liquid portion of the blood that carries nutrient. So this is the one which is going to carry the nutrient part, the hormones, proteins, and different kind of waste material. So it will be carried by plasma, and 55%, in blood, 55% of plasma is there. Okay. Now let's talk about red blood cells. So inside this plasma, liquid only, there will be red blood cells. Okay. They contain hemoglobin, and also iron is important here. So iron helps in basically adding the oxygen, okay, from the lungs to these red blood cells. So they carry O2, okay, carry O2 like this, right? So O2 is attached to it. Then there are cell fragments. That means broken cells are there, okay? Small pieces or parts of cells are there. So let me draw it with some other color maybe. So this is called as platelets, okay? These platelets are there also in blood. What they do is they help in clotting. So whatever, place, if your hand is wounded, let's say, and you're bleeding, okay, you're bleeding here. So let me just draw that. Okay, so you're bleeding here. So what happens is these platelets will come and try to clot this area and, repair your skin, your layer. Okay, so this prevents the excessive bleeding. Then comes the white blood cells. So white blood cells are, okay, let me draw it with white color. If it is visible, okay, it's not. Let me draw it with some other color, maybe sky blue. Okay, so this is the defense system of the body. So if any, extra bacteria or something enters, tries to enter here, this will go, and this will, phagocytosis, you might not understand the word, we'll discuss later. So it will eat up this, this extra bacteria or unnecessary particles in the blood. Okay, and that's how it will prevent any kind of infection being caused to us. So on an average, human, adult human approximately has 5 liters of blood, and you can quickly make, more blood. That's why you donate blood. You can donate blood, okay, once you are more than like the bar age. Okay, right. Now let's discuss one more thing. Okay, that is plants. So in plants, how the transportation occurs. So there is no blood, first of all. What is being transported here is, first of all, the leaf. Leaf is going to be transported. Let's talk about leaf first. So leaf will be preparing food, right? And that food needs to be transported to roots as well to survive, right? And to perform certain tasks, and to different kinds of other leaves as well, to stem as well, to branches as well, right? So that's why what happens, there is transportation system for, you can say, the food. Okay, and also roots only can take water, right? So roots will take water in, but the food is need to be prepared in the leaves or inside the leaves. So water is supposed to reach here, then only the reaction can occur, right? This reaction, CO2 plus H2O makes what? Glucose plus what? Plus oxygen, right? So this equation to occur, oxygen will be taken by the leaves directly by diffusion, but water will be, taken in by the roots. So it has to reach here to the leaves. So what happens, the xylem tissue, it helps in transportation of the water. It is throughout the plant, it will be there, the xylem and phloem, and helps in transportation. Now, xylem helps in transportation of water and mineral. Phloem helps in transportation of food, mainly sugars and all, from the leaves to all the parts. Okay, movement here is of water. The movement will be always upward because root is always downward, right? So water will always come from this direction and has to go up in any case. But food can be transferred in both direction because sometimes the food will be here. Sometimes you can imagine if, there is autumn and there is no leaf on the, your this tree. Let's imagine a tree is there and all the leaves fell. Okay, so that time the food is stored in the roots and different other parts of the plant or tree, and it reaches in different directions and branches and everywhere else when there is a requirement. So food transportation is bidirectional, both direction it can happen. Xylem only helps in the transportation of water, that too in one direction, that is upward, no downward. Transportation is there. And if in some case extra water is here, it will be evaporated. Okay, transpiration, evaporation, you might have we'll discuss that. Okay, don't worry. So transpiration also we'll talk about. Mostly transpiration is the case what happens when extra water is there. Okay, now let's talk about, so xylem is made up of dead and hollow cells because again water needs to pass through this, right? So dead and hollow cells are there arranged like making tube like structure here. And phloem tissues are composed of living cells with a perforated wall, so spaces between those walls so that food can be transferred. Now in transportation what happens is basically root pressure is there. So root pressure is one of the driving force which helps in the transportation in plants, where active absorption of mineral create a pressure that pushes water upward. Okay, so water droplets will move up and up. Then capillary action. So what happens that water molecules stick to the xylem cell. So if this is, xylem cell boundary is there, so water molecule will stick to it and gradually will try to, move upward. And last is transpirational pull. So what happens? There will be water loss, I told you, right, from the leaves due to transpiration. So more and more suction will be created in the plant and that will cause the water to rise more and more. Okay, so all these are the driving forces. So transpiration is the loss of water as vapor from the aerial parts. Aerial parts means the plant, the part above the ground. Okay, these part, and this is, roots are not aerial parts. Okay, now let's talk about functions. So transpiration, a lot of functions are there. It creates powerful suction like we discussed, and hence transpirational pull, which helps in the transportation of water. Then helps in cooling the plant and maintaining optimal temperature. So once the transpiration occurs, it leaves the plant with a very cooling temperature in hot summers. Okay, then facilitates the absorption and transportation of minerals from the soil and maintains turgor pressure. This we will discuss later. Okay, now you can compare these two. Okay, so transportation medium in animals is blood, whereas in plants it is mostly water and substances dissolved with the water. Now what are the organs which are used in the circulatory or transportation system in animals? Is heart, arteries, veins, capillaries, right, and blood as well. Here in plants, what happens? It is xylem and phloem tissues which helps in the transportation of different materials. Energy in animals, active heart, a heart is very actively pumping, so that gives the energy. Okay, and plants mostly passive, so it goes through diffusion and all the other things. So we'll discuss that later. Then speed of transport. So in animals, it is very fast. Blood completes its circuit in 1 minute. So your heart is pumping all the time, right? But in plants, it is very, very slow. It takes a lot of hours for, water to reach and then food to be prepared. Then direction of flow, I told you this is double circulation, right, in animals. But here, what happens? Xylem is one way, that is upward. Phloem is bidirectional, okay? So then there are certain disorders and applications. So in animals, if there is red blood cells, you remember red blood cells which were carrying oxygen, if RBC number decreases, okay, so you will feel weakness, you will be feeling tired all the time, and that will be like, it includes, iron deficiency in your body. So it causes anemia. Okay, and hypertension as well. So if your blood pressure, okay, if blood is moving with a lot of pressure, it increases, so you will get high blood pressure, okay, which can be silent killer to you. It causes a lot of risk to heart. Okay, if we talk about plant problems. So that is wilting. Plant can easily wilt if it is not getting enough, water and everything else. And girdling. So girdling is the cutting or damaging the phloem tissue, stops food transfer or transportation from leaves to roots, eventually killing the plant even if xylem remains intact. Okay, so this is all about it. Okay. So you can answer these questions. So question 1 is, which tissue transports water in plants? Xylem, phloem, cambium, epidermis. Question 2 is, which pigment in red blood cells carries oxygen throughout the body? And the last one is, which is the main driving force for the water transport in tall trees? Root pressure, transpirational pull, you can say, or gravity or wind. Okay, so thank you so much for joining the session. We talked about, animals and plants and their different kind of transportation system. We talked about, heart, blood and vessels in, animals. And in plants, we talked about xylem and phloem. Okay, so some fun facts are given below. You can just, pause and read them. We'll discuss them in a regular class. Okay, and if you have any queries, you can ask me on my profile. Okay, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.